All right, we're back to Your Welcome, and as promised, we are joined on the line by the one and only, the welterweight champion. Apparently retired, but we're going to get to the bottom of that right now. Mr. George St. Pierre. George, what's going on, pal?
Doing well, yourself?
Never better, my friend. I'm happy to be talking to you. I've got a lot of questions for you. And first off, let's just start out with the retirement. I'm reading things online that says George St. Pierre is back, and then there's always a little asterisk next to it, and it says in training. Is St. Pierre back, or is he just back in the gym?
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I always train. I started training when I was 7 years old, and I never stopped since. Training is part of my life, so it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean I'm going to be back or not. It's just that training, whether if I retire or not, or if I come back or not, I'm always going to be training. I like to feel in shape, to feel good in my own skin, and for that, that's why I'm training.
Now, George, if you were to come back, let's just play hypothetical. Over history, it's very traditional. When a guy steps away, whether you're talking boxing, whether you're talking MMA, when a guy steps away for a little bit and he returns, it is very common that a lot of times he will return in a different weight class. A lot of times the guy's sitting a little bit stagnant. He's not burning the same amount of calories. Maybe a little bit of age gets to him. If you were to come back, would it be at 170 pounds, or would you possibly do like Nick Diaz is doing and come back at middleweight?
I don't know, but the thing is, I'm the bigger I ever been right now. Due to my rehab, I was not able to do like martial art training, so I did a lot of strength conditioning exercise mixed with a lot of gymnastics. So I gained a lot of muscle mass. I'm the heaviest I ever been in my life. I'm like 200 pounds right now.
Whoa!
I used to walk around 188, 190, and now I am 200 pounds. And but still, at 200 pounds, it's a welterweight. The guys now in my division are over 200 pounds. Sure. They walk around more than 200 pounds. So even before, when I used to compete, I was very small. I have a very large frame that make me look bigger because I have a long reach. But I'm not very heavy. I'm a small guy for the elite of my weight class, actually.
Now, George, when you talk about that, and I've heard you comment on that plenty of times before. There was always talk of the super fight, Anderson Silva versus George St. Pierre, and size was a concern with you. I have a steadfast belief that in this sport, much like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or boxing, the heavier you go, the worse the athletes get. I always wanted to fight up in weight class because I was convinced that the bigger the guy, the worse the athlete. Am I wrong about that?
I don't know, because there is always exception to the rules, and I believe Anderson Silva is an exception to the rules. But this have been said. The reason why most people think that way, and I think it's not wrong to think that way, it's if you look at the population, most of people weighs about, I would say, 140, 155 pounds. North American people are very, very, very big. But if you look at most of the population are 150, 155. So it's normal because there is more people, there is more competition, and because there is more competition, normally, statistically speaking, normally it would be logical to think that the best fighter would be at that weight class.
Sure.
But you always have different exceptions, and I believe it's like boxing, there is different era. There is an era that at certain weight class they're better than others, and I believe it's the same thing in mixed martial arts.
I would agree.